Right, welcome back to turn 13. It's the Union turn, and quite a bit happened in this turn. What you're looking at there, you're looking across at the Von Ketteringham farm, and 1st Brigade of 3rd Division have advanced forward. They're now within musket range of the Confederate troops behind that hedge line. Of course, they've moved so they can't fire this turn. That was the Union's first activation. So if I try and swing you around without making you dizzy, we'll go right to the other flank. I decided that this Air Brigade, which is the 1st Brigade of the 1st Division, they've advanced to where, remember, being covered by these rocks. They've advanced and they're moving around onto the flank of Paynes Hill. And the next to advance was 1st Brigade. I can zoom out a bit. Right, 1st Brigade, the 1st Division, they've been able to advance. So we've now got attacks developing by the Unions on the flank and in front of Paynes Hill. And that wasn't the end of their activations. They had really good luck with the cards before they pulled a joker. And so 3rd Brigade here, they were able to advance across the first units across this hedge line and moved into the fields of Clay's farm. Still not within musket range, but we've got an objective marker there, so they are closing in on an objective marker. At the moment, Confederates hold all three, but that one's looking a bit dodgy now. Right, now then, that was all the movement, so they actually activated 4 brigades on that turn, which was phenomenal, really. Now, if we go back to the firing, if we start on this flank, the US 2nd Artillery, well, let's see if I can zoom in. I always get it wrong way around. Oh no, I got it right. Over there. So, I don't know if you right over there where that puff of smoke is. That's the the 2nd US Artillery Battery G, and it fired on the Phillips Georgia Legion, which is over on this flank here, and they scored 1 hit. Just a little bit round here. I'll have to zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Battery, the 2nd US Artillery Battery G. Battery F. They fired on the on Carlton's Georgia Artillery counter battery fire, scored 2 hits, which is why there's a puff of smoke on top, and the gun is actually turned now to face the other way. It is at the moment silenced. 1 more hit and it will be destroyed, so it can't fire back. So half of the Confederate artillery battery now on that Paynes Hill is now out of action. And moving on a little bit further down, here we have, now here, the New Jersey Light Artillery fired on the 50th Georgia, part of 7th Brigade, scored 2 hits. And next door, the 1st Pennsylvania Light Artillery also fired on the 50th Georgia and scored 2 hits. Well, that actually took their hits to 7, and they only have a line of 6. So that's why the puff of smoke's on there. So this regiment will be removed, has been destroyed, 50th Georgia. Still carrying on with the artillery fire. Where's the next guns? Oh yeah, over here. It's getting a bit hectic on the battlefield, so if we pull in there a bit. Right, first pencil light. We've done them. What was it now? Oh yes, the Maryland Light Artillery. Just check that's right. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh sorry. No, it's not. I missed one. Where's? Oh, Maryland. Here they are. The Maryland. Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah. There's the Maryland Light Infantry. Light Artillery. Sorry, not infantry. Light Artillery. They fired on the 41st Virginia and scored 3 hits. So this unit is now down to 1 Elan. I'm just moving across a little bit more, you can actually see it. But here, turn the pages of my notes. I have to make copious notes for this. The Massachusetts Light Artillery fired on the 11th Alabama, scoring 1 hit. So that was the end of the artillery fire. But then there was some musketry, and if I come down here, the only units who didn't really move and were in firing range was 2nd Brigade 3rd Division. So the 2nd Rhode Island, they fired on the 41st Virginia, scoring 1 hit. Well, that took their land down to 1, not just the cannon, because they'd been pounded now by artillery and a regiment of foot in front of them, so they're not too happy at all. Next door, the 37th Massachusetts fired on the 61st Virginia, and they also scored 1 hit. And lastly, the 7th Massachusetts fired on Huger's light artillery, scoring 1 hit, which is why the smoke's there to show it. The gun's not turned round yet, it's not disabled, it can still fire, but one more hit on it and it too will be turned round and it will be silenced. So that's the position at the end of what turn did I say it was? 10:13. So the Union now are starting to really get in among the Confederates now and cause some casualties right down the line. So I think the Confederates now are thinning down. A lot of the leading regiments now are losing elan. Also, Payne's Hill is now looking really dodgy over there with both a frontal and a flank attack coming in. So I would think in the next turn the Confederates are going to have to do something with that brigade, which is Kershaw's brigade. Don't think they can stay in reserve anymore. It's looking quite critical here, as we've still got an uncommitted Union brigade advancing behind this brigade, so it's struggling there. And of course on Payne's Hill, that is really getting dodgy. I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, they were originally sending the 2 regiments of cavalry galloping across to that flank to try and plug the gap, but to be honest, I don't think they're going to make it in time. So I think the uncommitted Confederate brigade may well need to be activated and brought into play at some point along the line. So anyway, we'll see. We'll come back for the next turn. Right, turn 14, it's the Rebels' turn. They didn't get very good activations, but they did get enough to activate 2 lots of units. They have activated Kershaw's brigade. 5 infantry regiments have just basically moved the full move forward, still giving him an option whether he's going to be centre or whether he's going to go across to the flank. However, he did detach his artillery, which has moved on to the rear of Palmer's Ridge and unlimbered, so they're there. And you'll see, if I pull out a bit, just in front, you'll see that there's a couple of arrows there. This is where the cavalry, the two regiments of cavalry, the 1st and 2nd Virginia Cavalry, were going to be galloping across, but they've been diverted to Palmer's Ridge. They're still mounted because they may have to gallop off somewhere else if they're needed, but we've got some backup there, even if it's going to only be dismounted cavalry. Right, and now from there, that was the end of the activations, and the next thing what happened was firing. And if we start with the artillery, I think I started at this end. Yeah, I did. So it will come across here. Move it a bit. Right. Now, Manly's North Carolina battery down there opened fire on the 65th New York and caused 2 hits. Hogarth's Virginian artillery, which is, where are we? Let me come out of it because I'm losing my orientation here. It's here. They opened fire on the 7th Massachusetts and scored 1 hit. Here, I don't know if you can see that, let's just change this a bit. The Norfolk Virginia Light Artillery fired onto the 119th Pennsylvania, no hit. And the last artillery was up on Payne's Hill. Remember, one artillery is silenced at the moment, but the other one, he changed to counter battery fire. That's Reed's Georgia battery. He fired on the US 2nd US Army Artillery Battery F, no hits. So then, if we switch back to, it then went down to musketry, and we're going to have to go back over there again. And here, the 10th Alabama engaged the 65th New York, and the 8th Alabama engaged the 122nd New York. This unit suffered 3 hits. The 65th New York suffered 3 hits, bearing in mind they'd already suffered a casualty from Manly's battery, and also the 122nd New York suffered 1 hit. So in one round of firing, this unit, the 65th New York, they're already down to 1 elan. So they're not in very good shape, but they are advancing forward. In the centre, on Palmer's Ridge, right, the 41st Virginia fired onto the 2nd Rhode Island, no casualties, no hits. 61st Virginia, however, did score 2 hits on the 37th Massachusetts. Artillery, we've already said, we fired on there. He fired and scored a hit. The 6th Virginia fired on the 7th Massachusetts, again no hits. And the only other musketry what was in range is over on the right flank there, is right on the Confederate flank of Payne Hill. The Phillips Georgia Legion is just within musket range of the 15th New Jersey, and they scored 1 hit. So that was 10-14 complete. again, it's the Confederate fire seems to be slacking a bit as units are starting to take hits. They've now committed the reserve, so we'll see what the Union does in their next move. Right, 10-15, which is the Union move. Unlike last time, they were only able to activate one brigade, and the first brigade they did activate was on this flank of Payne's Hill. As you can see by the arrows, they've moved right up and are now strongly pressing on this Confederate flank. So that was the sum total of their activations for movement. So then it was firing, and we started with the artillery. And while we're there, the 2nd US Artillery, Battery G, fired on those 4th Virginia Cavalry, scoring 1 hit. They couldn't fire this way because their own troops were masking the fire. Down here, the US 2nd Artillery Battery F attempted some counter battery fire on Carlton, Georgia Artillery, but there was no hits there. Further down in the centre here, both these artillery units were masked by their own troops, so they were unable to fire on this turn. Right, where's the next artillery? Ah, yes. Oops, camera's moving on its own there. Yeah, here we are. I'll get there, tighten this up a bit so I don't slide in a bit. Right. Right, the Maryland Light Infantry, could you see that? Yeah, Maryland Light Infantry fired onto the 41st Virginia, scoring 2 hits, which took them over their elan. So the 41st Virginia are now destroyed. Here, the Massachusetts Light Artillery engaged the 11th Alabama and scored 1 hit. They're now down to 2 elan. That was the result of artillery fire, and then musketry. If we switch across to VK's farm, and link from Ketteringham Farm, you can see here some puffs of smoke there. Where are we? The 65th New York fired on the 10th Alabama, scoring 1 hit. And the 122nd New York fired on the 8th Alabama, but no hits. Down here in the centre, zoom out a little bit. Here, we already know about the artillery fire destroying the 41st Virginia. This left this regiment without a target in range. However, the 122nd New York fired on the 8th Alabama and didn't score any hits. Then this brought up the 37th. Oh no, it doesn't. Who have I missed? I've missed somebody. Anyway, this regiment, let me double check, it is that regiment, the 7th Massachusetts, yeah, the 7th Massachusetts fired on Hooger's battery, causing a hit, so they've now reversed the gun and they've silenced that piece of artillery. Yeah, the 37th Mass, where's the 37th Mass, fired on the 61st Virginia, yeah, scoring 1 hit. And the 122nd New York, well, they scored no hits anyway, so it don't matter. So, yeah, that was the sum total of that move. Again, yeah, the Union are taking some casualties, but they're also dishing a few out, and the rebels are, you know, losing artillery for periods of time. This unit of artillery, apart from being silenced, it's only got 2 shots left anyway. Across on Payne's Hill, they have got that unit of artillery back now. It's been, because they've missed a turn, so it's back down to 1 hit with that flash of smoke. But again, they've only got 3 shots left, so things are looking a bit grim for the rebels at the moment. So we'll see what happens in turn 16, which will be the Confederates next. Right, turn 16 and the rebel activation. Like the Union in the previous turn, they were only able to move 1 brigade before the Joker turned up, and that's the brigade you're looking at in the centre, Kershaw's brigade. He's moving forward in a kind of semicircle, so his forces can come up there Payne's Hill, or they can help defend Clay's Farm, or even maybe 1 regiment there across to Palmer's Ridge. So they've been deployed pretty well. Then it was obviously the firing. Where are we? There. On Payne's Hill there. Let me get him right. So which way was it? Reed's Georgia Battery over here fired on the 15th New Jersey and scored 1 hit. We'll be coming back to the 15th New Jersey. Cartler's Georgia Artillery tried counter battery fire on the US Artillery F battery, but missed, no hits at all. In the centre, the Norfolk Light Battery here fired at the 119th Pennsylvania here, scoring 2 hits. I think that was it for the artillery. There was none. That one can't fire. That one's obviously can't fire. So yeah, that was into the artillery. So then we'll go back to musketry. If we turn back slightly to Payne's Hill. Phillips Georgia Legion here fired on the 3rd New Jersey there, but they didn't scoring 1 hit. Up on the hill here, Cobb's Georgia Legion, they fired on the unfortunate 15th New Jersey and scored 4 hits, taking them well past the land, so that's another unit of the Union destroyed. I think that was all what could fire across there. So then we're moving to the centre of the table, to here. Come out a little bit. The 6th Virginia fired on the 7th Massachusetts with no effect, no hits. The 61st Virginia fired onto the 37th Mass, scoring 1 hit. This unit's now down to 1 elan. And finally, if we go over to the Bunkachio Farm over on the flank there, we can see that the 10th Alabama fired onto the 65th New York, who were already down to 1 elan, no hits. And the 8th Alabama fired onto the 122nd New York, scoring 3 hits. So both these regiments now have 1 elan left. These fresh regiments behind are obviously going to have to try and change places with them. Same here, this unit's down to 1 elan. So yeah, it's, everybody's units are thinning down. Oh, you couldn't see what I was talking about before, never mind. But yeah, a lot of these regiments are thinning down. But of course there are more to throw into the meat grinder on both sides. So when we come back it will be turn 17 for the Union. We're at the halfway point because it's 30 turns, we're past the halfway point now this turn. And the Confederates still hold all the objectives. They still hold in the centre that objective there, unless the Union move up and take it from them. They obviously still hold Payne's Hill, and the other marker is down here in this field in the Von Ketchingen farm, which again is still strongly defended. So we'll see what happens in the next turn. Thanks for watching.